it's wonderful to be here with you today. I want to just remind everybody what Hubert Humphrey said a few years ago. He said the moral test of any government is how it treats those in the dawn of life, its children, those in the twilight of life, its seniors, and those in the shadows of life, the sick and needy. Right now in California, we need a governor that's going to be on fire, yes, for the children of this state, yes, for the seniors of this state, and yes, for the sick and needy. I am the only candidate for governor that is completely behind SB 562. Healthcare should be a right and not something that a privilege we give to the rich and the famous. The truth is, California and America are overdue for universal health care. Most of the nations with which we compete have it, and they spend less than we do. The irony is, we're spending more and getting less because the for-profit companies don't want to be engaged with really sick people because they're not profitable. So I'll just tell you, I'm going to fight for preschool, for K-12, for higher education, but I'm also going to fight for health care, for affordable housing, because the face of poverty in California tonight is a single mom with a couple of kids. But within 15 years, it's going to be our senior population, because the fastest growing group in California and America are our centenarians, and I'm for that. So let's all get together and fight for the future of California. Go Golden State. Stand up to the thug in Washington. Thank you all very much.
Dave Jones, you're next.
Well, thank you very much, California Alliance for Retired Americans. It's a great treat to be back with you again. And as you know, as your insurance commissioner, I've stood side by side with you against the insurance companies when they've tried to take advantage of seniors and other Californians. Thank you for standing with me a couple of years ago in the fight against the health insurance industry to try to get health insurance rate regulation, Prop 45. We weren't successful, but now we're coming right back at it with SB 562. And I'm proud to be the only candidate for Attorney General that's formally endorsed SB 562. I support it. I co-authored Mark Leno's bill. I co-authored Sheila Kuehl's bill. And the time is now to have single payer in the state of California. Are you with me? Yes! So I'm running for Attorney General to bring my 30 years experience as a public interest lawyer to the Attorney General's office. I started as a legal aid lawyer. I had a chance to work for 3 years with Janet Reno when she was the United States Attorney General. Last 7 years as your insurance commissioner, leading a consumer protection and law enforcement organization. And I would not have waited for the state of Minnesota's Attorney General to file a lawsuit against Trump when he filed the first Muslim ban. I would have made sure California filed first. I wouldn't have waited for Hawaii to file against the second Muslim ban. I would have made sure California filed first. I wouldn't have waited for 16 other states' attorneys general to file against Trump when he announced he was eliminating DACA, the right for dreamers to stay in this country. I would have filed first. And I certainly wouldn't have continued to wait, as we have now, to file against Trump for violating the Emoluments Clause, for housing all those foreign potentates and dignitaries in that big hotel he has in Washington, D.C. I would have filed lawsuit. So it matters that you have someone who's the Attorney General with experience practicing law. And I've been doing that for 30 years. I'm not a Johnny-come-lately to this. I know how to use the office on behalf of you, California seniors, and Californians more broadly. And we'll take the fight to Trump. We'll make sure to protect California. And we'll do everything we can to advance our progressive vision for this state. So I humbly ask you for your support. I'm going to be over here at this table where I've got these little endorsement cards. We're seeking people's individual endorsement because that's how you build a grassroots campaign. I hope you'll stand with me. That's Dave Jones for Attorney General. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dave Jones. Betty E. is running for State Controller. Come on up, Betty.
Thank you, Francis. Good evening, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be joining all of you here with CARA. First of all, I just want to say thank you to all of you for your sustained activism. And I want to talk a little bit, before I talk about my office, I just want to thank all of you because the integrity of the vote continues to come under attack. and for all of you to continue to sustain your participation in our democracy, first and fundamentally to exercise your right to vote, but also protecting the vote where we have to is so, so important. It's not lost on any of us who do cast our vote that we're not just voting for ourselves, by ourselves when we cast a vote. We're voting for so many who are unable to cast a ballot, whether it's our children, those who are disabled and can't physically vote, and others who are shut out of the system for whatever reason. So the vote is so, so important. I am here seeking re-election as your California State Controller, and I'm very proud of the fact that California is leading the way in terms of the national recovery after the Great Recession, in terms of job creation, job growth, and our sustained economic strength. But that strength will only be as strong as the ability of the individual economic health of every single Californian. And so what I'm going to continue to spend most of my time on as your controller, I serve on 70 boards and commissions, where I spend most of my time is on the California Public Employees Retirement System and the California State Teachers Retirement System, Secure Choice Retirement Board, because we want everyone to have a future with respect to retirement security after their working years. And this is something that I feel very, very strongly about, because as your CFO, I do my work within two bookends. One is we are the 6th largest economy in the world, which means that everyone should be sharing in the economic prosperity. We also are home to the highest rate of poverty, given the high cost of living in California. Now we can close that chasm, and that's going to require that we work together to be sure that we are creating economic opportunity for all. So I am proud of the work that we've done. We are in great financial health. California is going to continue to be a leader, not just because we know how to govern, which Washington can take a few lessons on, but because we have the discipline, we have the leadership, we've got the leadership within all of our statewide offices, but also because we embrace diversity. How lucky we are that we wake up every morning here in California and feel so blessed that here in California we embrace diversity, and diversity is not a threat. And that, my friends, is going to be what gets us to really realizing that we can provide economic opportunity for all, and let's protect those dreamers who are just feeling so stressed before the October 5th deadline. I know together we're going to exercise our civil rights, our electoral rights, and we're going to continue to make California the model for how a democracy works. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Betty. Marshall Tuck is running for Superintendent of Education. Please come up.
Thank you all. So, first one, just thank you all for focusing on education. And when I was reading the background on the California Alliance for Retired Americans, the fact that you said you want a better future, not just for you all, but for future generations and for our kids. And we need everybody to step up and get serious about California public schools and California's kids. Because tomorrow morning in our state, 6.2 million kids will go to public schools in the state of California, and 3 million cannot read and write at grade level. In the most competitive economy in the history of humankind, we're the wealthiest state in the nation, and we have not prioritized our kids, and we have not prioritized our public schools. And it's time for all of us, on behalf of everybody, and particularly our future generations, to come together and get serious about this commitment. I've spent the last 15 years working in our highest need communities in Los Angeles, in Watts, East LA, South LA, bringing real change to our schools, investing in our principals and our teachers, getting our parents more involved, really moving our schools into the 21st century. We need to do that for all kids. Our state has prioritized other issues. I'm happy we've done it. We've prioritized healthcare. We've prioritized the environment. It is time to prioritize our kids. This state needs to do it with a serious commitment. I want a 10-year plan for how do we have California public schools be the very, very best schools in the country. Every child deserves a quality education. We need an educator as our state superintendent. We need to all work together, whether we have kids or not, whether our kids are in public schools or not. It is time for us to do whatever it takes for every single child. I'm excited to spend time and get to know more of you, and I look forward to working with you for a long time. It is hard work, it is long-term work, it is time to do the work of supporting our teachers, of getting pre-K for all, of funding our schools in a real material way, and making our schools the very, very best. I look forward to doing that with you. Thank you so much.
Marshall. Tony Thurmond is also running for Superintendent of Education.
Tony! Good evening, everyone.
Get in your way.
Oh, we can do better than that. It's CARA in the house again. in education? Let me hear you say, oh yeah! Oh yeah! Thank you, thank you, thank you. My name is Tony Thurmond. I represent the 15th Assembly District, great cities like Berkeley, Richmond, and Oakland. Many of you have come to visit me in my Assembly office, where we talked about our work together to properly fund the California State Legislature, and how we put money into Medi-Cal, and how together we're going to get past SB 562 to have a single-payer health care in California. I'm deeply honored to be one of the Assembly co-authors of SB 562, and like my colleagues who you've heard from, have been supporting it for many years. I want to thank you for your support of the bill that we did together this year, SB 798, to increase the COLA for SSI and SSP. And we'll keep doing that work until we get that funding increase. We have to push back on a federal administration that is attacking everything that we hold dear. As we speak, trying to unravel the Affordable Care Act, is trying to hurt our children, and some of the programs that are the most simple but have the highest impact. The free lunch program. You're looking at a young man who was part of the free lunch program and public assistance programs, and they helped me to be able to sustain and to be able to get an education and to help my community. Before I came to the California State Legislature, I spent 12 years working in our schools, helping young people who needed a second chance. Because I think about it every single day. Were it not for an education, I might have ended up in California State Prison instead of the California State Assembly. But we must make it possible for every young person to get to the California State Assembly and have a great educational experience. That's why this year I introduced a bill that makes it possible for 400,000 more young people to get the free lunch and reduced program. I also introduced a bill that takes money from our prisons and puts them in our schools to build health centers and community schools so our kids can get an education, not incarceration. I passed legislation that has now become part of our state budget that guarantees every young person, when they leave foster care, will have a scholarship to go on to college. It's called the Chafee Grant. 100% of our young people will get a Chafee Grant to go on to college. And we're not done yet. I've introduced a bill this year to put a tax on private prisons, because we spend $5 billion on private prisons in California. When AB 43 passes, we're going to put the money where it belongs, in preschool programs and after-school programs, so our kids can have a future and have a great future. So I hope that you'll support my campaign. We're going to focus on more STEM education, on closing the achievement gap, making sure that our kids are ready to have the jobs of tomorrow and the jobs of the future, so they can have a great life, and work with all of us on all these great campaigns that we're all working on together. I'm so honored that in my campaign, I've been endorsed by a few friends along the way, including our current superintendent, Tom Kounalakis, who's endorsed my campaign, our great U.S. Senator, Kamala Harris, my friend and mentor who's endorsed my campaign, the California Federation of Teachers, and my hometown Congresswoman, Barbara Lee. I hope that you'll support me as well. I look forward to our work together and fighting together for California's kids. Thank you so much.
Thank you, CARA. Thank you, retirees. Thank you, seniors. Thank you, veterans. Veterans in the room? Yes, let's hear it for our veterans. My name is Eleni Kounalakis. I'm running for Lieutenant Governor of California. I proudly served as the United States Ambassador to Hungary under Barack Obama. Before that, I was in the housing industry, building master plan communities where thousands of middle-class families in the Sacramento region live today. And before that, my very first job was at the California Democratic Party, where I worked with Phil Angelides in 1992 to get Dianne Feinstein, Barbara Boxer elected, Clinton Gore, and turn California blue. Even though I worked officially at the CDP back in '92 and then went on into the housing industry, I never stopped being a Democratic activist, and I'm very, very proud of that. I am running for Lieutenant Governor because I believe now, more than ever, California must lead the way into the future. That is why I decided after the November election that anybody who feels they have something to offer should stand up and be heard. If I am elected, I will work hard to grow the California economy and make sure it is working for everyone, not just those at the top. I will fight to bring down the cost of affordable housing. This is something I know how to do, and I will be very focused. Rents are too high, the cost of housing is too high, and it is time for us to do something about it. I will also fight to bring down the cost of higher education for our students. This is very personal for me. My grandmother never learned to read or write. She let her son, my dad, come to America at the age of 14, alone, no money and no English. He worked in the fields in the California Valley, but he got an education. He went to Sacramento State, and in one generation, from when my grandmother let him come to America, the President of the United States sent her granddaughter back to Europe as a United States ambassador. This is the American dream. It hinges on education and economic opportunity. I believe very strongly we are all on this pathway. We are on it together, and I'm going to fight to keep it open for others. Healthcare in California, we know, is a human right. And if I am elected, I am going to fight for the expansion of Medicare. I believe strongly in universal health care, and a single-payer program must be at the center of this debate, and we have got to get it done here in California. We do not have to wait for the insanity in Washington to sort itself out. We can do it here. I am a businesswoman. I have looked at this. I believe it strongly, and I want to be part of that fight. And finally, it is incredibly important that your hard-earned pensions are intact and are protected to ensure that our retirees can live in dignity. This is the most critical element of ensuring that our democracy stays strong, is that the way that we treat our seniors is always held as a high priority for us in this state. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very proud to have been endorsed by Senator Kamala Harris. I'm very proud to have been endorsed by John Burton. I am asking for your support. I have endorsement cards, I have information. I'm here and I'd love to talk to you. My name is Eleni Kounalakis. I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. And I will be with you if I win.
Thank you. Gayle McLaughlin is not here, but she has sent someone to speak for her. Come on up. And your name is?
Good afternoon. My name is Juan Burton. I'm from Richmond. I'm here representing Gayle McLaughlin, candidate for Lieutenant Governor of the state of California. For those of you who don't know Gayle, she has been the mayor in Richmond who has transformed over the last decade our city. This really brings back the concept that all politics is local politics. What we have seen in Richmond, the transformation that our city experienced with a reduction in 75% of homicides in 8 years, the increase in the minimum wage, the pass of the first rent control ordinance in California in 30 years, the limiting of the pollution from the refinery that affects not only Richmond but the whole Bay Area and the Central Valley. Forcing Chevron to pay more taxes to the city, $114 million more over 15 years, 7.5 per year, additional taxes for the people of Richmond. Helping residents and business to receive cheaper and cleaner energy, electricity, through the community choice aggregation. Defending homeowners who were underwater from the greed of banks. Gayle led, and many in Richmond, some of you here present, were part of the response that transformed Richmond. The job is not done. Still, through the good work of the organization that Gayle McLaughlin created, the Richmond Progressive Alliance, transformation has taken place. And currently, Gayle McLaughlin, who ran 4 times for office without taking a single penny of corporate money, who defeated $3.5 million placed by Chevron Corporation against her and the progressives. Gayle McLaughlin now can be very proud to say that the City Council of Richmond has 7 members, 5 of which are corporate-free council members who have gotten into office without taking a single penny of corporate money. And they may be right or they may be wrong in the different decisions they make, but you cannot attribute their decision to being influenced by corporations. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the problem we have in California throughout the state. Corporate influence is ruining the state at the local level, at the state level. You will not find one elected official in California, in Sacramento, who can say, like Gayle can say, I am corporate free, I put people first. So, the time is up.
We want you to know that we invited all the candidates who are running for office. These are the ones who were able to make it tonight. Let's thank them for coming. The ballroom doors will open. Dinner will be at 6:30, so you've got